right. They watched out. Have not. They're dead.
What about me?
You do not find good man right. They watched out. Have not. They're dead.
Just
Time.
in a minute.
You do not find.
You do not know. What about in a minute? What about things are now in mush?
We do not.
You do not know pain. You do not know.
I'm gonna.
Just Tetris.
As time.
In a minute.
You do not find.
Just he threw down my enemy. What about things are now in mush?
We do not.
You do not know pain. You do not know.
I'm gonna.
Just
Time.
in a minute.
You do not find.
You do not know. What about in a minute?
Blues 500. We do not stop.
What do you mean? Just Tetris.
As time.
In a minute.
You do not find.
Just he threw down my enemy.
Blues 500. We do not stop.
What about me?
You do not find. Good man right. They watched out. Have not. They're dead.
What about me?
You do not find. Good man.
All right, and we are live once again. Two for Tuesday. That's what it's all about. Not that I'm going to be doing this every Tuesday, but today I just really want to get this done. You know what? I don't like this clamp all that much. I just want to be able to come in here tomorrow and forge a knife. I don't want to have to worry about the billet, anything like that. And as promised, I got everything cut. So all I need to do is give it a little tack here. We can get it straight into the fire. There we go. It's only got to hold it until we get that weld set. There we go. Need that hammer for a little bit. So put that away. Markers, pencil. Just really trying to get things away that could potentially catch on fire or melt. And most importantly, I got to put my tape measure back where it belongs, because otherwise I will totally forget where it is. Okay, already have a pair of these tongs out. Now, I didn't take dimensions of this billet, but I'm going to say that we are 2 inches by 3 inches right now. So 3 inches long, 3 inches long. I'm so used to being able to walk back here. Maybe I should rotate that camera a little bit. But 3 inches by 2 inches, 3 long, 2 high. There we go. It's kind of like my little corner back here. I'm just so used to being able to stand over here. I noticed during the last stream I was talking a lot, but I had the camera faced a little bit more towards the hydraulic press. So added something new in between streams today. Actually put a project title right down here, like right there. I don't know how weathermen do it. That's really difficult. Or weather people. So it's going to take a few minutes for that to come up to heat. Let's see. Anything I forgot? I need to grab something from out front. Microphone works all the way out here. Guess I'll have my answer in just a moment. Hey, it does. I'm back. I mean, this is the late evening forging session, so that would not be complete without something cold to drink. I think it's deciding whether or not it's going to rain. I don't know. The breeze feels really nice coming in, though. This is just a massive amount of steel to get some heat on. Go ahead and just turn that up just a little bit. But what I'm hoping is I took it narrower during the first stream today. And because we already had it over 2 inches wide. But I wanted to be able to get more length out of it so I could cut it into fours. And then this is it. This is 74 layers. This is, what we've been doing for the past couple of knives, and that way this knife looks similar, even though the handles are going to be different. Just going to give this a little rotation, a flip here in the forge. Those are a little warm. I've only had the forge going for about 15 minutes. I was cutting all the billet pieces with the bandsaw tonight. What's nice about using the bandsaw is it just gives me a lot more of a precise cut, but it's also a much thinner cut. You know, my abrasive wheels are what, 1/16 of an inch, and I forget what the bandsaw is, but it's much thinner. There you go. That's looking good. Probably about 2 minutes away from our initial weld. Get my safety glasses on before I forget. It'd be really nice if I had somebody that just came by and cleaned my safety glasses for me. That's better. I can actually see. And it helps by putting this thing back in. There we go. Just wanted to prep it for the height. Let's get our initial weld set. Not quite yet. I just saw a difference in the rate that it was cooling down, which makes me think, yeah, it's very superficially welded, but it's not great. That's all right. We got time. Let's see, our next die is up there. I feel like I should be doing something, but really, it's all about the hurry up and wait at this point. Our surface is looking good, but I really kind of want to let it go just a little bit longer. You know, there's no gaps in between the pieces of billet that I'm welding together. It's not going to hurt it to soak up some heat. Yes, Jeff, I'm talking to myself again. But this time I'm back, and with beverage. I was wondering if anyone was going to actually join in. I thought it could just be, 2 hours of talking to myself. Not that I have any experience with that. But I think we talked about that during the first stream today, so. Oh, I know what I can check. I just wanted to see how it looked with this light off. I mean, this is how the Forge used to always look. Huh, it kind of does something a little different to these cameras. I wonder. A little better. I am feeding them. You know what? Give me a minute while that's heating up. Oh, I remember. Purina Lerina? It's like a play on Purina, but it's I don't know. It's just a nice all around feed, and it's meant for chickens and ducks, and it's small granules. It's not pellets. my ducks don't have a problem with pellets, but some other people's ducks are a lot pickier. As a matter of fact, my ex-wife has a horse farm, and a couple of months ago she gave me some sweet feed that she just had an extra bag. Horses didn't need to have it, so I've been giving them a little bit of horse sweet feed pellets as a treat, and they absolutely love that stuff. But I can't feed them that all the time. They'll be enormous. Ducks waddle as is. I mean, fat ducks can't waddle, so. Just switching my dye out. So now that we've got those welds set, it's time to start drawing this down. Yeah, they could end up starting a Winnie. I tell my border collie that all the time. She'll go in to where the cat has her food. Then she eats all the cat food, and I'm like, "You're gonna start meowing." My daughter's 5 now, but previously when she was 3, she actually thought that was actually going to happen. Now she just tells me I'm silly for saying things like that. But yes, Jeff, we get it. It's dad jokes, and we're allowed to say those things. I'll take this one more press from the other side, and then I should be able to actually square up the sides as well. I'm just wondering where that blue haze comes from on that light. Ah, right there. So something glares at it. That's a little better. That blue light was just kind of annoying me. Okay, now I'm going to clean off any scale, any oxidation here. Lightly flux my sides. Yeah, I think my ducks actually have already put themselves to bed today. They didn't want to be out in the rain. I was out there right before I started streaming, so right at 7 o'clock, and I could hear them. I could hear them in the duck hut, but none of them were out in the yard. I think I don't have khaki camels. I have fair weather ducks. They just want to be out when it's all sunshiny. Looking at the seams of my billet right now, if there's any sort of air gaps there, might see some bubbles. A little bit of gas escaping. Everything's looking good. I mean, I don't see anything out of the ordinary. However, if this weld's not set, this is the portion where we'll end up having some problems. Jeff, I will be butchering probably just one of them in December. I don't know. There might be two. I might take one of the females. One of them has kind of a goofy foot, and if she starts getting picked on, then I'm not gonna make her suffer. But I only have 10 ducks, and 2 of them are boys, And essentially, one of the boys is going to go. And once we get some viable eggs and some hatched, well, then I don't know, maybe the other boy will go. Or maybe he'll just get his own house and he has to live separate from all the girls. But the idea is I'd like to, essentially repopulate what I plan on butchering in the spring. Just kind of squaring that billet up. Need to come through on the other side. The tail end where I'm holding on to is just a little bit wider. But yeah, butchering them isn't a problem. I mean, I'm a big hunter as well, so I'm always shooting pheasant or geese. However, next year if I'm butchering like 20 ducks and I give up chicken and only eat duck, maybe I'll have to get one of those cool little plucking machines. There we go. Much more even. So I'm going to take that flat die out. I'm going to replace it with the one of the drawing dies. Waterfowl hunting can be a lot of fun. The one thing I want to do is I really want to go out sea duck hunting. I know some guys that do it, but they've never invited me along. Probably for a good reason. I mean, they probably start at like 4 a.m. or something stupid like that. But of course, when I go goose hunting, I mean we're out there 40 minutes before sunup. It's like goose hunting. Goose hunting's often done by 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we're done for the day. Some of the guys go out though for a second round at night. All right, so let's start drawing this out under the drawing dice. It's just so cool when you can see, all 74 layers there as you're drawing that down. Still want to keep it on the hot side for basically another pass or two. I want to see about getting that width out of there. But after that, I don't need to keep it up at welding heat. Technically, right now, I don't need to keep it up at welding heat. Jeff, below where you were today, there's weren't you out on the river today? Because there's a bunch of duck blinds below the dam there on some of those islands. So you're in a good area for it. There you go. I know it's hard to tell the color there in the cameras, but you can see that it's cooling down nice and evenly. Now the question is, do I need to go any wider on this? And I think the answer is a resounding yes. However, let me grab a speed square. I'm going to use my anvil to mark some of this out. 25 rounds. I still didn't get a bird, right? I shoot with a breech loading single shot 12 gauge. So if I need to fill the freezer, then I'll take the Mossberg 500 output. Really gives them a sporting chance. So I'm just going to check my width here. I'm about a 1/4 inch off of my goal. So to change that up, I've got some spreading dies that we made here in the shop. Essentially just like our drawing dies, except they're positioned the opposite way. I'm beginning to think that this mic does not like the harsh noise of the motor. Let me see if that can you contact right there. Nope. So I'm actually going to turn my bottom block sideways, and that way I can just get the tongs right in there. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm fullering out the steel. So when I say that I'm creating a fuller, see if you can, I don't know if you'll be able to pick that up on there or not. Kinda. So I need to go a little wider at the tip. My middle's fine, and a little bit more at the back end. I'm going to flip it over. I don't want to get one area too thin. I have a bottom die that also matches the one that I just put in the top, so I can actually do a fuller on a knife. It becomes a little problematic. I mean, I think it's still best to grind one in, you know. If they're not completely 100% aligned, it doesn't work exactly the way that you want it to. When I go ahead and I built that hydraulic press 15 years ago, and it's still doing its job. So, but I want to build a new one. I've got some great ideas for it. So the front end and the back end need to just be spread out a little bit more. I'm doing some of this by eye. So I want to be over 2 inches on that entire billet, and I am. Except for the very tip, but that's going to end up getting wasted anyway. Hopefully there's enough steel here to do. There should be. There should be enough to do a second blade. But with this billet, I'm not doing the thing that I like to do, which is put that core of 1095 down the middle. And that's mainly because of the edge geometry of this blade. It just doesn't work. Thinking about it a little bit more, I mean, I'm okay with this if it's, you know, close to 1/4 of an inch. Traditionally, they're up to about 9 millimeters, which is 0.35 inches, so just under 3/8. See if this is going to be problematic under the hammer. Let's go light. right now my goal is to just smooth all this steel out. We're still really thick, but I want to get those fullers out of there because that doesn't work with how we're forging this. So I'm essentially going to turn it around. We're about ½ inch thick, so that's good. We've got enough there to do what we want to do. Yeah, I'll definitely get 2 blades out of this. The question is, what blade? I guess we'll find that out next week. Concentrate on this week's blade. Yeah, if I run this under the rolling mill, or whatever's left under the rolling mill, take that down to about 1/8 of an inch, we'll have a nice, we'll have yet another nice knife for the kit. So now we're very consistent in our thickness all the way through the tip. So I'm going to use the drawing dies. I'm going to draw this out a little bit more. Yeah, Jeff, one thing I realize is, our friends from Germany and Denmark, this is way too late for them. Maybe, I don't know. I say that and then, Jurgen or Rick's going to pop in and say hi. I know Rick's got a little one, so he's probably exhausted by 8 o'clock at night their time. By 10 o'clock, probably begging for bed. I can still remember 2 years ago. And this is definitely widening out that steel. But that's fine. I would much rather set it down. Nate's son has been in Florida for the past, well, all summer. So, and I think he's starting school this week. So, Nate's been doing some stuff with him. You just wait, and probably like 2 weeks or so, Nate will end up being here in the shop with me. So, once things get back on track with the kids, and all that fun stuff. Just gonna give that another minute or so in there. That's really drawing down nice. Now that I finally got that bottom die secure, there's absolutely no play in there. All right, let's get this close to the thickness that I want it, and then I'm gonna clean up the sides of it. Amazing, in just about an hour, we've taken this from 16 layers to 74. And I'm just taking my good old time about it. I mean, there's really no reason to rush, you know. It's not like we're on some TV show that it's going to give us 10 grand. Which I still think is kind of BS. I mean, that's my own personal opinion about it. There's a lot of other shows out there that give a lot more money away for doing a lot less work. And I really think that all the contestants, you know, they do a great job. Should at least give them some money for being there. No, sure. Well, that actually got caught in between. There's a little channel in those tongs. Oop. And it kind of wedged in. So that means we are at whatever thickness those are. I know what they were, but I think Mac actually ground them out, make them a little wider. So we're almost there. I like it. I don't know. I can make a cleaver, like a real cleaver, out of the other part of this as well. Definitely see. I can see some edges on here. It's going to be interesting. Let me measure this out really quick. Okay, so our thinnest side is exactly 2 inches. Gets a little thicker there towards the middle. So if I square this up, yeah, if I square this up, we're going to get a little bit more length out of it. But then I can continue to thin it down. Just like right now, I'm just trying to be careful about it. This is one of those rare instances where I really do want a very thick billet. For the second half of this, when whatever I have left over, the next knife that comes out of this is going to be quite the opposite. But for this particular one, it's got to be thick. So it's better to just take my time instead of rushing it. You know, if I wasn't doing the live streaming thing, I'd probably just be bouncing through. So you guys are actually forcing me to be a little bit more careful about, what I'm looking at my tolerances. I don't want to screw things up like I did on Monday. Gluing the wrong side of the handle on. My God. How amateur can I get? So I'm going to square this very end up. That's looking really nice. So you can see right now that right in here, this is all 2 inches. And that's how much I gave myself in order to step it down a little bit. But you got to think about how the material moves. And so taking it a little wider and then upsetting it is actually the smarter move, I think, in this sense. But yeah, if I was making some big fat German style chef's knives, I could probably I know I could get 2 really nice sized knives out of here. Twice the length of that billet as is, so probably 7-inch blades on there, if not more. If I took it a little bit thinner, I might be able to get close to 3 of them. Maybe not all the same size, but it really depends on how careful you want to be with the material that you're working with. if you'd rather just grind stuff away, then then you want to keep it. Then you want to keep it on the thicker side. That's looking pretty nice, and I can actually see some of the pattern in this. So now it's about cleaning it up, bringing it down to the right thickness. Then we'll straighten it up and let it cool down until tomorrow. Just a short stream tonight. Yeah, I figured that I put this little MTV style overlay down here at the bottom. Basically, it's showing you right there. It's showing you what project I'm doing, what blade this is, you know, what step we're actually at. So right now we're in the billet step, making 74 layers, the steels that we're using, and the project stream that is, I think it's going to be 2 of 4. That's the hard part, is I don't know exactly how many streams it's going to take, how many days it's going to take. I'm assuming this is 4 days of streaming, so. There we go. Now we're thin enough that it's not going to get stuck in these tongs. Well, Jeff, it's been a while since I've actually tried to sell knives online. It's so I don't necessarily know where a lot of these are going to go. Right now, I am actually trying to finish up my personal chef's roll. It's I've had a goal of hand forging every knife I use in my own kitchen. Um, and that means everything from steak knives to all my actual chef's knives. But after this, I have a friend of mine whose daughter had expressed an interest about reviving my Etsy store. So before it really didn't matter, before the whole pandemic thing, because we still had outdoor shows going on, and right now this time of year, I'd be sending a lot of blades up to Boston. I really prefer one-on-one sales. I don't like internet sales just because I want you to hold the knife. I want you to see it. I want you to examine it, and then I want you to buy it. I think knives are very, very individual to the person. So I want you to, I want you to feel that knife. I want it to talk to the person that's supposed to have it. And I really enjoy talking with the buyer one on one. I don't know. It's just me. I think that this is my craft. I don't want it to be nameless. I want you to have a face to go with it. Maybe I'm just weird. Maybe I should just say, hey, give me the money and run. But I'm not cheap as far as my knives go. So I don't know. If it was possible to do Etsy and hand deliver everything, I think that would be fine. But just like I also have an Amazon Marketplace account. I don't have any knives up there, but I just think that those the internet doesn't do well at personal. However, that being said, I've been working on something, and I plan on keeping this whole live streaming thing going. And my goal is, I'm not doing it to make money, but if I can get compensated for my time, that's great. So I did set up a Patreon, and I figure you've got a couple of different tiers there. Somebody signs up for the journeyman level, essentially once I get 25 people at journeyman level, I'm gonna take one knife every month, and it's gonna get given away to a current journeyman level supporter. And so that's going to be one of the benefits of being in that $8 a tier month, or $8 a month tier, along with exclusive videos and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't do too many knife shows anymore, since it's. I mean, that's exact knife shows. Most of the ones that I've done, in my experience, have been a lot of old guy collectors. And so, yes, there are some really, good knife makers there, some guys I really admire. But it's really a bunch of older guys going, I have this Randall knife and I want to trade it for, these two knives. And they're kind of just swapping their collection around. And then most of the knives that are being sold one-on-one, to the general public tend to be knives from, the Pakistani guys selling their $45 Damascus. And I just can't compete with that. And I don't want to. So I stick with, a little bit more exclusive outdoor shows and that kind of thing, where you've really got to pay some money to be there. Let's go a little thinner yet. I used to do a show up in, I want to say it was Easton, Pennsylvania. No, or something like that. It wasn't the Lehigh show, but it was with a knife collector group up there. And I love doing that show. I never made any money at it, but just a bunch of awesome old guys who had so much knowledge about knives. Not necessarily about the craft of making knives, but they just knew so much. They could tell you what LL Bean catalog something was sold in 1954. Yeah, you found the same thing in artisan shows? I assume you're referring to guys that can, knock off what you're doing for very, very cheap. That just to give you an example, that French chef's knife that I finished up yesterday, I couldn't sell that for less than $675, and I'd like to get a little bit more out of it. I'm not trying to be greedy, but I would like to get a little bit more out of it. I think that my time is worth it, and I really think that it's an absolute quality piece. And when you look at it, now, while part of that's my fault, I'm streaming, so I'm not doing production work. But I only made one knife last week. So how much? And I didn't dick around with it. I still did it fair. I don't know how much is your time worth? And the older I get, the more I want to do one knife a week, and that's it. You know, I want to focus on it. I want to give it attention, and I want that to be my $1,000 a week. Okay, so that's the thickness I want it to be. You can actually see the curve that this is taking because I thinned out one side. Now I just have to go back, and I'll know when I get the other side the same thickness when it's all straight. That's why I took so much time to make sure that I was as equal as possible before really stretching this out. Now, obviously, I'm going to still stand it up on end and square this up again. And so I will have to go under the power hammer just to do a finishing pass just to make it as smooth as possible. But give me a minute. I'll be right back. Just checking on the ducks, make sure they didn't run away. They're too scared. All right, so now I'm going to make sure that I'm biasing the hammer on the unstretched side. So there you go. You see how that just straightened out. Now I have just literally the last like 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches of this billet That's all I need to work on, and then I'm gonna load up some dies in the press and just bring this down to make sure we're a nice consistent width. And then again, yet another pass just to smooth it out, I think, under the power hammer. I may not even have to do that step. I'll judge when I get there. So Jeff, is your wife thinking about getting ducks? They're actually pretty cool. All I have to do is yell, "All ducks go to bed," and they go to bed. You know, they're I don't know. They're definitely, chickens are assholes, so ducks are definitely better than chickens. Okay, that looks really good. Oh, she was just curious. I do not feed them bread. They're really good at eating insects. Every once in a while, I give them corn. They're not all that keen about it, but tough, they get it. Also, like when I take things, I just pulled some old lettuce plants that had kind of grown a little wild, and I wasn't going to eat them, so I pulled them out of the garden, gave those to them. I just chopped them up, made a nice little duck salad. Hey, Dwayne, how's it going? In the forge tonight, dude, we started this thing at 1:30 this afternoon. And then from 4:30 to 7, I took a break. But I came back in at 7 o'clock. We've got a really nice wide billet right now. Let's see what I can do under the power hammer. Look at that. Look at that billet. That's beautiful. So I'm just trying to feather what I'm doing. Let me check my width again. And we are, I mean, just over 2 inches, which is what I would prefer. Oh, I hear you. I could not imagine teaching high school kids. I mean, I do teach high school kids, but their parents pay me directly, and you know, normally it's a max of like 2 days with them. And then I give them back, and I never, you know, I don't have to see them again for another couple of months if they come back, you know. They're actually like, I think I've only ever had one teenager who was like an absolute pain in the ass the very first time that he was here, and I couldn't tell by the class, but apparently he thoroughly enjoyed it, and he showed up the like almost a year to the date afterwards, and you know, his grandfather had called me and asked like, would that be okay? And I said, yeah, that's fine. And dude, the second time he basically did a different class, and or did he do the same class? I think he might have done the exact same class that he did, and it's amazing what difference a year made. And that kid was awesome at it. You'll notice I'm just kind of feathering what I'm doing. I'm not hitting hard at all. That is, boy, that's almost perfect. Let me just run it one more time. Just to smooth it out, and then we're going to let it cool down. Jesus Christ, a 2-pound or a 2-horsepower motor. How many pound hammer are you planning on running? Now I get that if you got it at scrap, you know, that's totally fine. Overkill is overkill. I'm running the 55 pound here with a 1-horse motor. And I know of guys who have done like 40 poundish at 3/4. And I want to say actually, if you look at Little Giant's specs, I think it says, or no, it might be Carry Hard that said for a 50-pound hammer, 3/4 horsepower. But they're a little bit different as far as their driving mechanism goes. than a Little Giant, if I recall correctly. I could be totally talking out my ass here. Ugh. I had to take my safety glasses off for a minute. These things are sweat magnets. So now I'm just going to kind of come in. I just kind of want to hit the edges of this and the flats. I just want to give myself really nice crisp sides on here. I don't need to. I mean, these are all going to, the whole thing's going to end up being forged. Oh, so you're building like the Rusty? Or an Appalachian power hammer? They're really simple to build. The only thing I don't like about them is that most guys I've seen kind of build them wrong, I guess, if that makes sense. A lot of guys undersize their parts. It's meant to be a scrap power hammer, I get it. But just because it's scrap doesn't mean you use the cheapest thing possible. I just end up seeing a lot of play in their hammers. The other thing I don't like about that style of hammer is, my God, their footprint on the floor is just absolutely huge. Now, I'm also biased when it comes to power hammers. I really prefer my design. But I think Clay Spencer has a really nice design as well with the tire hammer. Mine looks an awful lot like it, but it drives and operates a totally different way. Of course, his hammer probably doesn't have $15 every 2 months of parts that need to be replaced. Just, Dwayne, promise me that if you're going to build an Appalachian style hammer, that you beef it up. That hammer is such a cool design, but everybody wants to build it out of 2x3s. I'm just using an analogy here, when they should be using, 4x4s or even 2x12s. I mean, it seems like every time I see one, they're severely undersized. They just lack the support, and so it seems like it just kind of, I don't know, the accuracy isn't there. The other thing that I've always wondered about, I've never used one personally, and that's the ability to feather that hammer, to feather the control. Now, I can see a very simple solution, and that's adding a belt pulley drive similar to what I have. Oh, let's get this die out of here, and I'm just gonna straighten this piece out. All right, let's finish this bad boy up. Now all I'm doing is literally coming in here and nudging I'm just straightening this piece out. Dwayne, you're over in Carlisle, right? Trying to think if there's a place close by you. That might end up carrying the size drops that you need. With that style hammer, the way that it's built, I think they recommend 10 to 12 times the hammer weight. So let's just say it's 10 times. If you do a 50-pound hammer, your anvil should weigh 500 pounds. I know that seems like a lot, but it's actually not. I've seen guys actually take, 2-inch by 10-inch, basically flat stock of steel. I'm talking 2 inches thick by 10 inches wide by, whatever height they need. And they tie like 5 of them together. But you can go on onto Google and find some steel weight calculators. That'll at least give you an idea as to what you should be looking for as far as size and shape goes. And I don't necessarily believe that you have to go, 10 to 12 times higher. That's CSR. I I'm not sure. I'm not sure how happy they are about people walking around their scrapyard to buy things. They're in a market where it's basically they sell in bulk to guys who melt stuff down and refine it. So if you want to buy 40,000 pounds, they'll be more than happy to sell it to you. But if you want to buy 40 pounds, they're gonna probably laugh at you. Let's get a picture of this. Cool, that'll go on the Instagram. If you're going to drive all the way to Harrisburg, you might as well drive, I would say, drive all the way to Columbia. There is a scrapyard there. The name is Sods. Now, it really depends on the day. I would call them ahead of time and make sure that they're going to let you walk through the yard. But I have found some very massive pieces there. So there we go, guys. I guess you can kind of see that. Let me I'm gonna pick this up and just hold it in front of the camera. So earlier tonight at 7 o'clock, this was 2 inches by 3 inches by about 1.5 inches, and now we're looking just under 3/8 of an inch. We're 2 inches, and I haven't even figured out. I haven't figured out the length. No, it's Sods. SAAD. We'll just leave that there till tomorrow. Let's see what kind of length we got out of this. Usable length, anyway. So we got 12 inches out of that. That is not bad at all. I think I'm only going to need maybe 7.5. Technically, I should need under 7, but I don't know how hard I want to work on it. I'll think about the actual math and volume calculations later. But essentially, yeah, I've got more than enough for the night that I want to do, and I don't know. Tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow's the big day where we take this billet and we're gonna make something out of it. And then I guess next week we've already got a billet to work with, and we'll see what I can make out of that. Who knows? Maybe that will be the first night for the Patreon supporter giveaway, which I've yet to actually post anything about, but sometime here in the next week, I will figure out exactly what I want to do. Again, I think I'm going to do, as soon as I hit 25 journeyman supporters, I think we're going to start giving away knives every month. which is kind of cool. Let's grab one more cold one, and then I gotta call it a night. Got a lot to do before I start streaming tomorrow. What I'm looking at is I can actually see a lot of the patterning in here. And I haven't looked at the photograph I just took. Sometimes you can actually see that in the glowing metal in a photograph. So all right, guys. Hey, thanks a lot for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you being here, as always. And tomorrow we're actually going to take this billet and we're going to be making a deba bocho out of it, and we'll go from there. So thanks again. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Just be through down my enemy. As time. Just be through down my enemy. And what about things are now in mush? You do not know pain, you do not know. I'm gonna. Just time. In a minute. You do not know. What about in a minute? Lose 500. We do not stop riding. When you mean first Tetris. As time. In a minute. Just be through down my have no. They're dead. What about Bill?
You do not find good men right. Great watchtower.
Have no. They're dead.
Just time.
And a minute.
You do not find
What about? And a minute. What about?
Things are now in motion.
we do not
You do not know pain. You do not know
I'm gonna
touch. Just as time.
And a minute.
you do not find
Just he threw down my enemy.
What about?